This week on Lewis on the Law, I have yet another awesome and informative show for you. I have attorney Matt Kilgo in the studio with me, and we are going to talk Georgia gun laws.
Welcome to Lewis on the Law.
You are listening to Lewis on the Law, and I have yet another great show. I'm so excited about this show. I've been trying to get it on for a while. We've been kind of working our way through this process. Today, we are talking Georgia gun laws. I have attorney Matt Kilgo on with me. He's from the law offices of Matthew W. Kilgo, and he is also the founder of GeorgiaGunLawyers.com, or Georgia Gun Lawyers, and their website is GeorgiaGunLawyers.com. I'll get that right one of these days, Matt. Tell me a little bit about GeorgiaGunLawyers.com.
Oh, thanks, James. GeorgiaGunLawyers.com is our website. My old partner, Mike Hawkins, and I have been working with a company for several years that provides legal representation to gun owners. And as a part of that, I had to learn a lot more about guns than a redneck from Alabama just automatically knows.
Ouch. Okay.
Well, when I grew up in Alabama, I was born in Alabama,
okay.
raised in
so
Alabama.
So you can say that, right?
I can.
Okay.
I
Good.
escaped.
I'm just like, we're in the South here. I don't want to get some angry callers. I get callers here, so.
I think they may be able to tell from the sound of my voice that I'm from around here.
Okay, you're from around here.
Right.
Okay.
I grew up in Alabama, but even growing up there, you have a shotgun at a young age, you have a rifle, you purchase a handgun when you can. Even at that age, and getting older, I didn't know that much about firearms. And when I was presented with an opportunity to represent gun owners and then to write a book, I realized just how voluminous and convoluted and complicated gun law can be. And it took us 2 years to write the book, and I actually think I learned a thing or two along the way.
Yeah, and just so you guys, if you don't know, we're talking Georgia gun laws, and we are with the guy who wrote the book on Georgia gun laws. So we've got a great reference here. We're about to really get into it. Matt, why is it important that we talk about Georgia gun laws?
You cannot have a conversation anywhere. You can't turn on the television or the radio or look on the internet without seeing an article or hearing someone share an opinion about firearms in this day and time. It's so prevalent for good reasons and for not so good reasons. And so the opinions being important, facts, I think, are that much more important. And you don't get more factual than the law. And there's several interpretations to it, but that's where we start, is with the law.
And that's what this show is all about. I mean, we're really not worried about opinions, whether you think something is right or wrong. What we really try and look at is the facts of each situation, the actual law itself, and we try and give our listeners information.
That's great.
Yeah. So, Georgia gun laws, armed and educated. I love that. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, as I said, my partner Mike Hawkins and I work with a company called U.S. Law Shield, and we had been working with them for several years when they came to us and said, Matt, I want you to write a book. They actually gave me a Texas book and said, take all the Texas out, put all the Georgia in. And they do this with they're a nationwide company. They represent the rights of gun owners, and they also provide legal representation to gun owners. My job is just as the attorney. So I have an attorney-client relationship with over 6,000 of their members here in Georgia. I field calls from members all over the country who are coming to Georgia. Hey, can I bring a firearm? Yes, please. We like that. What can I do when I get here? Where can I carry? How can I carry safely? So I field calls daily. I take emergency calls, teach a lot of use of force seminars. And so getting into the meat of the law and working with these fantastic people who want to protect themselves and protect their family has really helped me to round out my education about the law. I've learned so much more now just being in practice, even than law school or college.
That is amazing, actually. And so does it all start with Texas? I mean, they gave you the Texas book and said, here, turn this into a Georgia book?
Right. The company is U.S. Law Shield, and they started in Texas, I think, about 8 years ago. It was a few lawyers there.
That makes sense. Texas and guns, they kind of go together.
They do. They do. I'll tell you that I think, pound for pound, Georgia's gun laws and the rights that Georgians have to possess and legally carry firearms outweighs any other state, including Texas.
Now, that is amazing to think about, because when you think about Texas and gun laws, you think everyone's got a cowboy hat, some cowboy boots, and a gun in their holster. I mean, isn't that the way it once was?
I think most of the people that I meet from Texas do have cowboy boots. But for instance, just in the past 2.5 to 3 years, Texans have been given the right to carry openly, whereas in Georgia, we've had that right for many, many years, many years.
Wow. So Georgia is ahead of Texas. Who would have thunk it?
I like it. It's a good place to be.
It is a good place to be. Okay, so let's talk about Georgia gun laws. Let's define this. What are you talking about when you're talking about Georgia gun laws?
We're talking about everything from purchasing a firearm to possessing a firearm to carrying a firearm to protecting yourself or anyone else with that firearm. Now, Georgia law allows you, James, to protect anyone to the same extent that that person could protect himself or herself with a firearm. And if you have that much power to protect everyone, I think it's incumbent upon all of us. I think we're obliged to know the law. There's even a statute in Georgia that says ignorance is no excuse of the law.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important, especially when you're dealing with criminal matters and matters with, firearms are dangerous tools. They're tools, but they can be dangerous tools. I think it's important to know those laws.
I think any tool that can put a big hole in you in a couple of seconds is probably a dangerous tool.
Well, yeah, but like a car could do that.
Cars can do more than that, probably.
Right. Yeah. So we're talking about the manner in which you obtain a weapons carry license, the manner in which you can possess a firearm, where you can possess a firearm, and how best to protect yourself if you have to use that firearm.
Okay, so talking about purchase, what are the rules on purchase? Are there certain restrictions on purchasing a gun?
There can be. Federally and in state law, there are age restrictions on the purchase of firearms. The easiest way to describe it is that under the age of 21, you cannot purchase a handgun. Now, at the age of 18, you can purchase a handgun, not from what we call an FFL. That's a federal firearms licensee. That's a gun store. Anyone who has a federal license to sell firearms, anyone under the age of 18 cannot purchase a handgun there.
From them?
From them.
Okay.
But beginning at the age of 18, you can purchase from a private individual in a hand-to-hand transaction, or a private sale, as we call it. And then at the age of 21, you can purchase a handgun from a federal firearms licensee.
Okay. What about those gun shows? Are those FFLs?
Not all of them, no.
Okay.
No.
So they're just like private people. So they operate like private people?
And this is the basis of what a lot of people call the gun show loophole, which is not really a loophole there. I mean, in a private transaction, you don't have to you don't have to see a license. Now, you cannot sell a firearm, a handgun, to anyone who does not reside in your state.
Okay.
You have to go through a federal firearms licensee. So some of there's a lot of misconception about what they call the gun show loophole. If you were to go to a gun show in Georgia, you could purchase. Now, they're probably going to ask you, any private individual is going to ask you for some identification, most likely a weapons carry license.
Okay.
That's how you'll know that someone is not a convicted felon, for instance.
Okay.
You can't sell to someone that cannot legally possess a firearm. And so, I've sold in private sales and I've purchased in private sales. And invariably, each time I've purchased or sold a gun in a private sale, I've always asked for or shown my Georgia weapons carry license, because that weapons carry license shows that I am of the legal age and without legal disability to possess a firearm.
Okay, so what kind of legal disability are you talking about?
Well, you have to be above 21, as we
we've got the
discussed,
age
or
description.
above the age of 18 if it's a hand-to-hand or a private sale. No federal or no felony convictions, I should say.
Okay.
No convictions of a misdemeanor.
Wait a minute. So felons can't get guns? How do all those felons get guns? Because they're out there and they're shooting people.
Bad guys are going to get guns.
Yeah.
Bad
that's a
guys are
bad
going to get
thing.
guns. And it may be that they possessed the firearm before they were convicted. I don't know. Every situation is different.
Well, I'm not a felon, so I actually don't know. But
We'll have to take you out and let you buy one. That's a good one to start with there. That 1911 right there is a good one to start
I don't
with.
know if my wife would let me have that.
Oh, yeah. She's fine with it, trust me.
You haven't met my wife yet.
She's fine with it. So no felony convictions, no misdemeanor crimes of domestic violence. Back in 1996, the federal law was changed, 18 U.S.C. 922, and sub G is actually 18 U.S.C. 922G. If you have a conviction of a misdemeanor conviction or greater of a family violence charge, then you are prohibited by federal law from possessing firearms or ammunition.
Yeah, you wouldn't want those crazy guys who go around beating women to get up their hands on you. At least I wouldn't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
But now a lot of my practice, and I'm by trade a criminal defense attorney. I was a prosecutor before, and as most prosecutors move into criminal defense work, I've learned a lot more about some of the things that happen now. Let's say you are charged with family violence battery because you get into a fight with your wife. And the prosecutor agrees to dismiss all the battery charges. Just plead to a disorderly conduct, something along those lines. Well, that's still a federal crime of family violence battery. It's still considered a domestic violence battery charge, and it still makes you ineligible to possess a handgun or ammunition for the rest of your life. So a lot of what my practice has morphed into is helping individuals like that who did not know that to rehabilitate their record so they can take advantage of all their rights.
Excellent. We are almost at the end of this segment. Matt, will you give them some contact information for you right here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can find us at georgiagunlawyers.com. That's all spelled out. You can call my office. It's 678-842-4331. And I'll be happy to take your calls and certainly happy to see you on the internet.
Excellent. On Lewis on the Law, this show is not designed to give you legal advice. If you have a serious legal issue, you need to go ahead and contract with an attorney. This show is only designed to give you legal information. It can be a first step in any legal process. You can listen to the show, find out what kind of information you need, what kind of issues you need to protect, what kind of lawyer you're looking for. When we get back, we've got a lot of stuff. We barely got into this first segment. We're going to talk about use of force, training, how you possess. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. I love it. Clint Eastwood needs to come out here with his hat cocked low, a little glint in his eye, and of course carrying his, I don't know, what kind of gun did Clint Eastwood carry? Do you know?
Oh, that was probably a Colt's Dragoon or a Navy 6-shooter.
It was a big gun.
It was a big gun. That was 44 Magnum in all the Dirty Harry movies.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. Those movies were awesome. My dad was a big Clint Eastwood fan. I was a big Clint Eastwood fan. My dad was a career soldier, so I was raised on Army bases.
Oh, wow.
And shooting guns at the range. My wife isn't crazy about that, but it's just a fact. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis. I am your host this week and every week. I have a great show going for you right now. I'm talking with attorney Matthew Kilgo of the law offices of Matthew Kilgo and founder of GeorgiaGunLawyers.com, and we're talking Georgia gun laws today. All my old shows are archived on my website. If you want to go on my website, you can pick up almost every single legal issue you can possibly think about or find or come across. Go to jameslewislegal.com. My phone number is 404-610-0075. If you have a topic that you'd like to hear on this show, go ahead and drop me a line on my webpage, or you can email me at james@jameslewislegal.com. If I don't know the topic, I will bring on an attorney who does know something about the topic, and we'll talk about it on air. We got a lot of stuff going on here, Matt. I mean, when we just left, we're talking about purchasing it. So let's talk about you said you did use of force training. What is that?
In my job, it pays to make sure that people understand how best to protect themselves. And then, as we say, protect yourself after you've protected yourself. Find a lawyer. Find a lawyer who knows the law, right?
Yeah, because if you protect yourself with a gun, that can have serious consequences for someone.
Yes, for you or for anybody else that you protected or that you protected against. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about the use of force, what we're discussing, as you well know, there are statutory defenses written into the law. And one of those is called the defense of justification. Anyone in Georgia can take advantage of these defenses. And what this defense says is that you may have committed an offense that by itself would be considered a crime. Let's say you and your wife are out at the mall, you're walking back to your car, you're accosted by the bad guy. You have the ability to fend the bad guy off. It's obvious he's going to make some attempt on your life. You have a firearm. You use your firearm to protect your wife, to protect yourself, and the bad guy dies.
Which, I mean, I'm for that law. If you can't protect your wife, I mean, what else can you do?
Happy wife, happy life.
There you go.
Well, so my grandfather would say, you shoot a man with a gun, that ain't right. But the law says...
my grandfather would not have said that. It's ironic. My grandfather would have said, if you shoot a man, make sure he doesn't stand back up.
Bury him deep.
Yeah.
Dead man tell no tales. No, I understand. But the point is that you have the opportunity to protect yourself. And although your act may be considered a crime, you cannot be held criminally liable or criminally culpable, we'll say, or civilly liable. You can't be found guilty, and you can't be found liable at a civil trial. So criminally, You cannot be found guilty of a crime. And if the bad guy dies and his family sues you, or let's say the bad guy doesn't die. Let's say you shoot him in the leg. It's his favorite leg. He took it with him everywhere he went. Now he's lost it. He sues you. The law says that he can't recover from you. But there's a difference between being found not guilty and being arrested. And that's one thing that I think is so important to emphasize with anyone who carries a firearm or practices safe carry, is that there's a big difference between being right principally and practically being arrested. I mean, just because you're not convicted doesn't mean you can't be arrested.
Yeah. That happens all the time in just traffic accidents or traffic incidences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of what I teach are what you must do, what you can do, and maybe what you shouldn't do, how best to protect yourself, what the legal concept is and what you should think about, and absolutely what you should do if you've had to use a firearm or a baseball bat or a refrigerator to protect yourself.
Or a refrigerator?
Well, I don't know how old your audience is, but most of them probably remember the Coyote and the Roadrunner, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Anything that says Acme on it is a deadly weapon.
It's a deadly weapon.
That's
Got
exactly
it.
Right. So a lot of it is about what happens after you've used force. Call the police. Tell them who you are. Tell them to send assistance, but have an attorney ready to assist you, depending on what you've done and where you've done. It could be the difference between not being arrested and potentially even being convicted of a crime.
Gotcha. So my grandfather, since we're talking about grandfathers and what he would have done, my grandfather's from the backwoods of Georgia here. So he would have said, so in that situation, if I'd shot the guy in the leg, my grandfather would have said, boy, you done did it wrong.
Right.
And
you missed.
So this is my first offenders. Okay, say I did not meet all the criteria. Are there things that, is there any way out of trouble?
If you've used a firearm, is that what you mean?
If I've used a firearm, I've shot someone, maybe I wasn't life-threatening, he just kind of scared me and I just shot him. Well,
I would say obviously call police, both from a protection standpoint and, let's face it, you want to be the first one to file. You know, you don't want the bad guy calling saying, help, there's some nut out there shooting people.
You're right.
Call the police, tell them who you are, tell them where you are, tell them you've been the victim of a crime, and ask them to send assistance, then hang up the phone.
And then call you, right?
And then call me. That's exactly right.
Got it.
That's exactly right.
Got it. So are some people denied for a weapons carry license?
Yes, for a lot of different reasons you can be denied. You're not old enough. You haven't presented proper evidence that you're a resident of the state or the county in which you're applying for a weapons carry license. You have prior convictions for felonies. Anyone who's been convicted of a felony cannot legally possess a firearm unless you're able to have that debilitating act rehabilitated somehow. And Georgia's come a long way in the past few years to help people rehabilitate their records. In 2015, the General Assembly passed a retroactive first offender rule or first offender statute that says if, and first offender is your one free bite at the apple.
Yeah.
Everyone gets one free felony unless it's a serious violent felony.
Everybody gets one free felony?
Well,
I've been wasting my years. I need to go ahead and commit a felony. No, I am just kidding.
I'll give you a whole stack of my cards.
Trust me, I'm not committing a felony anytime soon. I got a lot to lose. Got a good life here.
Let's say that you had a youthful indiscretion. You were charged with a felony. You pled guilty to it, you moved on with life. And years later, you're now an upstanding member of the community. You want to be able to possess a firearm to protect your family. You go in and find out whatever you did 20 years ago is keeping you from protecting your family. Georgia has put in place a retroactive first offender that allows us basically to reach back in time and help turn that conviction into potentially a dismissal. And that frees up.
That is really interesting. I didn't even know that.
It's amazing.
I think I've had people, and criminal law is not my area. I really concentrate on transactions.
Georgia has come so far in so many ways in helping people to rehabilitate their records, helping them to push away youthful indiscretions and things along those lines. So there are ways that can do that this can be done, and there are some lawyers out there, some better looking than others, who can do this kind of work.
I wonder who you're talking about.
Just the guy sitting next to you. That's all, James. So there's a lot that can be done to assist those who, for whatever reason, are ineligible And there's a statutory framework that you work within to try and help those people.
Okay, so how do pardons fit into this? I mean, is this part of the pardon thing, or is this a pardon? Is that what you're talking about?
It's different from a pardon because as a first offender probationer, you complete probation, you've entered a guilty plea.
Mm-hmm.
The judge has accepted your plea, and you say, Judge, I'd like to be treated as a first offender.
Mm-hmm.
So the judge accepts the plea but doesn't sentence you.
Okay.
Puts you on probation, you complete everything successfully, you go back to court and the judge will dismiss it. And at that point, it can be restricted from your record. You have a very handsome and knowledgeable lawyer who can have your record sealed at the courthouse.
Very important.
Right. A lot of things that you can do to separate yourself from whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
A pardon's a little bit different. With a pardon, you're asking for clemency. You're asking for an official act of forgiveness from the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. And most people automatically think, well, my uncle's brother's uncle's cousin knows the governor. In Georgia, the governor doesn't have any part of that. We have the Board of Pardons and Parole.
Okay.
So when we apply to a board that reviews all the information and then determines whether to grant you a pardon or to restore your civil rights, such as your right to sit on a jury and become a notary public, or to restore your firearm rights. Each one of those things, slightly different process, and you have to go through the Board of Pardons and Paroles to do it.
Gotcha. So we're getting close to the end of this segment again. Matt, give them some contact information for you again.
Yes, it's Matt Kilgo, and our website is georgiagunlawyers.com, georgiagunlawyers.com, and you can reach us at 678-842-4331, 678-842-4331.
You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and I am your host this week and every week. I have an awesome show going right now. I'm talking with attorney Matt Kilgo, founder of GeorgiaGunLawyers.com, and the person who wrote the book on Georgia gun laws. Love it. Georgia gun laws, armed and educated. We got a lot of stuff going on. If you have a topic for this show that you'd like to hear about, we're all about information here. I want to give you, the listener, legal information because, as Matt said, there's a law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So we are trying to help you become better educated, better informed. But this is not to replace the advice of an attorney. If you have a serious legal issue, go ahead and contract with an attorney. A lot of different types of attorneys come on this show, so you can always rewind my shows, get their contact information. I give them all an opportunity to go ahead and get their contact information. If you miss it, you can just hit me, and I'll steer you in the right direction. This show is designed to let you know what type of things you need to look for, what type of attorney you need to look for when you're faced with a legal issue. When we get back, we're going to talk about the basics of weapons carry. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. Love the Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's got it going on. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis. I'm your host. We have another awesome, this is a great show. This is an awesome show.
I'm having a good time.
I know. I love this topic too. And you are a great guest. Matt told me he's taking my job. I'm fired. So
I don't even know why you're still here.
I know, right? I might as well go. Matt Kilgo, attorney Matt Kilgo. He wrote the book right here, Georgia Gun Laws. We've got the source here on Georgia gun laws. Love it. Matt, give them some contact information for you just in case one of these guys gets in a little trouble and they need a gun lawyer.
Sure. You can reach us 24 hours at 678-842-4331. That's 678-842-4331. And you can always find us online at georgiagunlawyers.com.
Okay, so let's get into the basics of weapons carry. What are we talking about when we're talking about the basics? Are there basics?
There are. It's very basic, as a matter of fact. We talk about carry with a weapons carry license, carry without a weapons carry license. You do.
Wait a minute. Carry without a weapons carry license? Can you do that?
You can. In Georgia,
you can. In Georgia, you do it in Texas?
Who cares about Texas? Yes, you probably can do it there too. I don't know. Okay. But look, in Georgia, so long as you are eligible to possess a firearm, you're over the age of 18, no felony convictions, no misdemeanor crimes of domestic violence, and you're not on first offender probation, right? If you're asking yourself, James, if you're on first offender probation, you ain't, okay?
Yeah.
If you have to ask yourself that.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that I am not. I'm a notary. Ooh, I'm a notary. That's a real tough guy there.
So say it with me, James. I ain't on probation.
I ain't on probation.
Okay. So if you're not, if you're eligible to possess a weapons carry license or to possess a firearm, you don't have to have a weapons carry license in your car, in your home, or in your place of business. Those are the three big places. Where you live, where you work, and how you get to where you live and work. Those three places are called your habitation. You don't have to have a weapons carry license so
now,
long
I think
as
a lot of people are confused by that because I think a lot of people think that if you were in your car, you'd have to have a weapons carry license.
Well, the law in Georgia used to be that you didn't have to have the weapons carry license, and it is a license. So many people call it a permit. It's a license.
I've called it a permit because it looks like a permit to me.
Well, look at it from this perspective.
But it does say license when I think about it. It does say license.
Well, Georgia is a shall issue state. We don't have any classes that you have to take. You go to the probate court, you present your identification, they verify that you're free as far as a criminal background check goes. They take your fingerprints, they run you through the system. If you are eligible, they must give you the weapons carry license. So that's when we say it's a shall issue state. If you're eligible for it, Georgia's got to give it to you. But guess what? You don't really even need it in your car, in your home, in your place of business. If you're over the age of 21, you can carry a firearm in another person's car without a weapons carry license as long as they allow you to do so and you're otherwise eligible to have that license. So many different ways that you can carry even without a license in Georgia.
Wow. Well, who even needs a license then?
Well, if you're going to carry outside of these places in public, openly or concealed, you can carry openly, you can carry concealed, you're going to need a weapons carry license, which means you have to go to probate court, you have to apply for it, they give you one, and then if you have one, you must carry it with you. The law does say that in order to realize the benefit of carrying openly or carrying concealed in a public location, you have to have your weapons carry license with you. So you get one of those, and then you can carry. You can carry on the street. You can carry in the movie theater. You can carry in the mall.
Now, can I get just like a gun holster and openly carry it? I mean, the Clint Eastwood music, it's got me fired up. I'm wearing a black shirt and little skull and crossbones.
I see that.
Tie.
Very nice.
Feeling
very
like
nice.
a tough guy here. Don't mention that I'm a notary public because that doesn't sound like a tough guy.
You're the toughest notary public in the room.
There you go. I'm the only notary public.
Yeah.
Well, those compliments, Matt. You know what? Okay, take the job. He wrote the book, so we're doing all right.
So, yeah, you can carry in public.
Okay.
And you can carry openly. Now, I don't always recommend that. There are a lot of different reasons. In this day and time, so many people have polarizing opinions about firearms. And the majority of people who want to carry only want to carry to protect themselves and those that they love, and those that they don't love. They can protect anyone, remember? We don't want to deal with polarizing opinions. We just want to be able to go about our day protecting ourselves. So you can carry openly, you can carry concealed. Be ready for some of what my grandmother would call the hairy eyeball. You know, you get that in the grocery store, and you know, people will call police. There's a man in the grocery store with a gun. Right. Well, it may not be against the law, but the police say, "Oh, okay, here we are. We're going out to the grocery store."
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't try that. There's an African American man in the grocery store with a gun.
Yeah,
oh God.
You know, we're equal opportunity here. I think everyone should own a gun.
I agree, but you don't want to get shot while carrying it.
That's true. So if you carry, when I carry, and I cannot carry all the time because I go to court, and I don't want to forget that that's in the bag. Although, side note, as a weapons carry license holder, there are some places that you can carry. Let's say you carry into a government building. You can carry into a government building unless there's law enforcement screening there, someone who's wanding you, and it must be a law enforcement officer.
Okay.
But let's say you forget and you try to go to buy a tag and the lights and sirens go off. Georgia has a right of retreat for weapons carry license holders. Oh, here's my license. I'm sorry, I forgot. I'll take this and put it in my car. The law says you shall not be convicted if you attempt to leave after being notified that you failed to clear security. But what the law does not say is you shall not be arrested. It's another one of those situations where you may ultimately prevail, but in the short term,
you still might end up in the pokey.
Exactly. So you just have to know, and part of being a responsible gun owner is remembering when you have it with you. And remember, maybe this is not the best time. And there are so many people who get arrested and cited in the city of Atlanta International Airport, Hartsfield Jackson, for possession of a firearm.
Now, you hear that that's kind of common. Person forgot their gun in their travel bag, and they go through, and lights go off. TSA comes, locks everybody down.
It's very common. And let me tell you, this is one way that Georgia treats weapons carry license holders different from people who don't have a weapons carry license. Now, and this is something that the airport probably doesn't want you to know, but in the unsecured portions of the airport, as long as you have a weapons carry license, you can carry in the terminal area. There's a famous YouTube video of a fellow walking around with his rifle trying to bait Atlanta police into arresting him. And those officers did the right thing. They knew the law, and they knew, sir, you probably shouldn't be here with that. I'm just telling you, but we're not going to arrest you. They did the right thing.
Wait a minute. So you can go around and just carry a shotgun around downtown Atlanta?
I am clearly giving you a lot of bad ideas.
You are giving me a lot of bad ideas. My wife is not ever going to invite you over because she's like,
I'll just give her a stack of my business cards.
I'll say, Matt told me I could carry my shotgun. I don't even own a shotgun. Matt told me I could buy a shotgun and carry it around Atlanta. I want to be a tough guy. I don't want to be like the notary public in the room.
Well, so God love your wife. I'll pray for her tonight.
Luckily, she's used to me. So,
with a weapons carry license, so getting back to the airport, for instance, there are more people for some reason who try to go through security in Atlanta than virtually any other place in the United States with a firearm. If you go through security or attempt to go through security without a weapons carry license, you'll be arrested by the City of Atlanta Police. Now, that portion of the airport is in Clayton County. So the Atlanta police take you to the Clayton County Jail. And there you'll see the Clayton County Magistrate Court judge, who will probably keep you in jail at least 24 hours.
Yuck, and that's not fun.
Well, you're going to miss your flight. We know.
Yeah.
We know for sure. Now, that's if you don't have a weapons carry license. If you have a weapons carry license, you will be detained by the Atlanta police, and either the Atlanta police or the FBI will give you a federal violation, and then you have to go see the U.S. Magistrate Court judge, and you have to deal with the FBI. And in either situation, either state court or federal court, about 3 or 4 months after, you're going to get a letter from the Transportation Security Administration, the TSA. Hey, remember that time, James, when you tried to bring a bazooka through the airport?
Not a good idea.
Give us a $3,500 fine now.
Ouch, that hurts.
a lot of my job is dealing with the FBI, dealing with TSA, trying to get the firearm back, trying to finagle this or massage this in a way that doesn't have any reflection on a client's future record, and trying to keep those fines down as much as possible.
$3,400, that hurts. And the future record thing, that's not good either.
We can talk to the TSA. They have a great group of lawyers who will work with us on that, but it's something that you have to deal with. Has
that happened to a client of yours yet?
Absolutely.
You've had clients who've gone through with the gun and they've been arrested, and what type of hope do they have of getting these things dismissed, at least a fine dropped, a slap on the wrist?
Every scenario is different. Obviously, every client's different, and ethically, I can't comment on any one particular case. Of course, you know that.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that there's a big difference between state and federal court. There's a big difference between dealing with the Atlanta police and the FBI.
Right?
Right. If you've got a Raven 25, a $75 handgun, some people go through the airport with those. Some people go through the airport with a $5,000 Dan Wesson 1911.
Nice. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds really nice. And since it costs $5,000.
Let me tell you something, James. You want one of those. maybe two.
Do you hear that, Colette? That's my Christmas present. Maybe birthday / Christmas. They're close together.
For several years to come.
Several years to come. Okay, we're at the end of this segment. Matt, give them some contact information for you again.
Yes, it's Matt Kilgo, and we're GeorgiaGunLawyers.com, and you can reach us at 678-842-4331, 678-842-4331.
You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and we have yet another great show going. We're talking Georgia gun laws. If you have an idea for a show and you would like to contact me, go ahead and drop me a line on my webpage, jameslewislegal.com. And on the very last page is a contact page. You can just drop me a line. And if I don't know your topic, I'll bring an attorney on who actually knows something about your topic, and we'll talk about it on air. Several of you have already emailed me, and we've talked about your topics. All my old shows are archived on my website. Go to jameslewislegal.com. You can always email me at james@jameslewislegal.com or give me a call at 404-610-0075. When we get back, we're going to talk about use of force. This music just makes me feel tougher. I feel like a tough guy now. You know, I'm gonna get one of those. What did you call the gun? I don't even know.
Dan Wesson, 1911.
Dan Wesson, 1911. I'm gonna write that down, and I'm gonna go online and look it up because it sounds awesome.
I think if you ask anyone who knows a little bit about guns, about handguns, those are a particular type of handgun. Dan Wesson takes what is good and makes it better.
Is he from Smith & Wesson?
No,
it's not that.
I don't
Wesson.
think there's any relation there.
Okay.
But it's one of those, it's a unicorn for most people.
It's one of those. It's one of those things like
Grandma would say fancy. It's fancy.
It's fancy. I like that. That's a fancy gun you got there. Well, it fit in a low slung holster because now we've got the Clint Eastwood music going. We're talking about Georgia gun laws. I want to buy one of those like low slung holsters.
You want a soldered leather holster. You're probably going to look at a 6-shooter, a Navy Sixer, or something like that. Maybe you're one of those guys who likes to carry what they call appendix style. For a tubby guy like me, it's not a good idea to carry appendix style because it's obviously very close to your appendix and other important things.
That doesn't sound...
I meant your femoral artery. Get your mind out of the gutter.
So, okay, it doesn't sound welcoming to me. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave my gun at home, or maybe I'll put it in my car now that I know that you can do that. Actually, I just leave it at home at the nightstand. That sounds the safest to me. Because that's where it might actually come in handy. We got a lot of coyotes in our neighborhood.
Yep.
Coyotes.
Yep. We got a few of those in Marietta as well. One of them got into the garbage last night.
Wow. It's usually just raccoons, but go coyotes. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. I have yet another great show going. I have attorney Matt Kilgo on. We just started talking about the topic. It's so exciting. It's so much fun. This is a great topic. Matt is the founder of Georgia Gun Lawyers, and he is the writer of the book on Georgia gun laws. Be armed, be educated. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. We've went through a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's just kind of wrap up where we've been. So let's get into it, the definition, how you purchase, how you possess, and how you protect.
Great. We've talked about how you purchase. Go to a federal firearms licensee. You've got to be above the age of 21 for a handgun. We didn't really talk about long guns, which are rifles and shotguns.
Yeah, do they fit into a different category?
They do slightly in terms of possession. There's no requirement of a weapons carry license for a long gun. You can have it at any age, and as a matter of fact...
Can you get a machine gun at any age?
No, you cannot do that. That's what we call an NFA item, a National Firearms Act item.
Okay.
But with long guns, rifles, and shotguns, technically in Georgia, you can possess those concealed without a weapons carry license.
Oh, you can get a shotgun and then saw off the end of it and like put it in your jacket like I don't know, somebody did in one of those movies.
You've actually manufactured what's called an NFA item.
Oh, you've manufactured
That's
it. Okay,
bad
so
news.
you leave it long.
Nope. You don't want to do that. And
will that fit in your coat pocket?
Will that fit? What I tell people is the only way that I feel like you can possess a shotgun concealed is with a black trench coat. And black trench coats and shotguns.
That's just going to ring off warning signals everywhere.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Look at the sweaty dude with the black trench coat. What in the world is going on?
Well, and there's only one statute in Georgia law that speaks to when a firearm is loaded, and it's a statute that concerns the possession of handguns by juveniles, and it says that a loaded handgun is any semi-automatic with a round in the chamber, or a cylinder pistol, a revolver, with a round in the cylinder. So technically, you can possess a handgun that has a full magazine. We don't call it a clip. It's called a magazine.
Okay.
And so long as there's no round in the chamber, that's an unloaded firearm. So you can carry a shotgun concealed if you can fit it under that jacket or in your sweatpants, right?
Yeah.
So long as there's no round in the chamber.
I don't think it'll fit in my suit jacket. I'll have to invest in one of those long trench coats. Okay, so you were talking about NFA firearms. That's a little bit different, right?
Oh, that's a whole lot different. Those are the type of firearm that you must register. Short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, suppressors. We don't call them silencers.
Silencers.
Nope, they're called suppressors.
Okay.
We call them
get the terminology right.
Got to get it right. They're not clips. They're magazines. Magazines and suppressors. So there are some items that you must by law register for, and you have to pay a tax stamp for them. And those tax stamps can take you a while to get. If you were to purchase a suppressor now, you would probably be able to take possession of it sometime in December or January.
I didn't even realize you could purchase a suppressor.
Absolutely. I can give you a list of 20 places within 10 miles from here.
Why would someone need that?
Oh, James.
Like the home defense, I get it. I was raised on military bases. You know, I get it. You know, someone broke into your house. Yeah, open fire on them. You got to protect your wife, your family.
I happen to know a lot of fellas, and I may or may not be included in this group.
May or may not.
I, dispute that potentially, allegedly, who hunt with AR platform rifles, black rifles.
Oh, you hunt with it? Okay,
you can.
Nice.
Some things.
Does anything actually escape you?
Believe it or not, you still have to be a good shot. With
Okay.
It's not what we call spray and pray.
Okay.
You can hunt with those types of rifles, and you can affix a suppressor to those types of rifles to protect your hearing, the mates that you're shooting with.
It is obvious that is the answer. You want to protect your hearing. That's the answer I was looking for. It was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, good solid answer.
I'm full of nothing but the truth.
Excellent. That's what we like about you. That's what this show is all about, is delivering some truth, delivering some information. Okay, so how you possess. Let's get into some details about that again.
Remember, openly carried, which you can with a weapons carry license. You can carry concealed with a weapons carry license. In your car, in your home, in your place of business without a weapons carry license, so long as you're eligible to possess a firearm. But in point of fact, you can carry to the movie theater. Even if the movie theater has a sign that says no guns allowed, those signs do not technically have the force of law. There's nothing in the statute that says you see a sign, you go home. Because the statute itself.
So if it says no guns allowed, that doesn't mean that there's no guns allowed?
With a weapons carry license, the law says that you are lawful to carry in any public place. However, private property owners or persons in legal control of the property have the right to exclude you or to eject you if you are in possession of a weapons carry license. It doesn't say anything about them posting a sign to keep you out. The law actually relates back to the criminal trespass statute that says if you fail to leave after being given notice that you must leave, then it's criminal trespass. Well, there's nothing in the criminal trespass statute that says a sign is good enough to keep you out. And obviously, if the General Assembly wanted to say that, they could have put it in there. So what I tell people is that if they have a sign, you know what? Spend your money somewhere else. Go somewhere where you know they're okay with you protecting yourself. But as a general rule, as a legal principle, just because there's a sign in Georgia doesn't mean that you have to that you have to leave. Now, there are some states, you have a sign, you can't go in. There are some states, James, when you're stopped by a police officer at a traffic stop, you must divulge that you have a weapon in the car. You do not have to do that in Georgia.
But don't you think it might be a good idea?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. I think if you ask most law enforcement officers, they're going to tell you that what they want from you is to be quiet while they give you a ticket. and most police officers...
I failed that. I'm like, I did not run that red light. I mean, I'm going to challenge this in court.
Go see the judge.
Won.
Go see the judge. Go see the judge. You're not under any obligation. Now, if you're carrying it on your hip and that's where your wallet is, probably a good idea to say, hey, guys, guess what? If it's in the glove compartment and that firearm is not going to come up in casual conversation, why would you want to tell them that?
Gotcha. It doesn't seem like a good idea, does it?
Well, it just depends, and every situation is different. Every situation is completely different. But that's how you purchase, that's how you possess, and then how you protect.
Wait a minute. On the possess, I have a question here.
Sure.
It's kind of burning in my mind, and I don't keep up with the law in this area, but hasn't there been a big issue about guns on campus?
Yes. Georgia passed a statute last year. Was that 2017? Campus carry went into effect. Campus carry allows anyone over the age of 21 who has a weapons carry license to carry a handgun concealed in a public institution. There are a lot of dependent clauses in that step, but you've got to be over 21. You must have a weapons carry license. It can only be a handgun. It must be concealed, and it must be at a public university. Private colleges doesn't work.
Oh, that's interesting.
You could carry to any, Georgia, for instance. You could carry in Athens, but you couldn't carry at Emory. You carry at Georgia State, but you couldn't carry at Oglethorpe. Even in those, within that statute, though, there are exceptions. You can't carry to a sporting venue. Can't carry into student housing. You can't carry into any room where they have disciplinary hearings or faculty administration or anywhere where a college student might be taking a class. It gets very hard in some situations.
That sounds sticky or informative. Both, maybe. We're almost running out of time, so just real quickly, can you touch on how you protect a little bit use of force? Touch on it.
You're justified in the use of deadly force to protect yourself or any other person when you have a reasonable belief it's necessary to protect against death or great bodily injury or to prevent the commission of a forcible felony. If you believe you must act to prevent death or to prevent a murder, rape, armed robbery, aggravated assault, you're justified in the use of deadly force.
Nice. Now I've got it broken down. Matt, give them some contact information for you real quick.
Yes, it's Matt Kilgo, 678-842-4331, 678-842-4331, and you can always find us at georgiagunlawyers.com.
You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and this has been yet another great show. All my old shows are archived on my website. If you need legal information, go to my website. This show is not designed to replace the advice of an attorney. I've had a great show. I've had a great time with you, Matt. It's been awesome. I'd like to thank the crew that's making the magic happen. The sage of sound, Sam Davis over there, pushing the buttons. The villain of video over there, Anthony. We love you, Cook. I'll be back next week. See you guys.